Hey everyone, I'm Valeria. I'm in sales team at GetSales. And in today's video, I would like to talk about setting up the dashboard to monitor the tasks to send the connection requests that are currently in progress for your sender profiles. So why is this setup important? Essentially, let's imagine that you are working in our team and you have 50 sender profiles in this single team, or you're also working across different teams for your customers. And in this case, it's very difficult to go through the scheduled tasks to see how many each of the sender profiles have to send the connection requests for your automations. And sometimes the sender profile might be running out of the connection request tasks because the leads are finished in some of the automations, but you will not spot this. And your sender profiles are just hanging with no scheduled tasks, so they are not working. And for you, the most important point is for everybody to work on the maximum capacity because the converted leads bring you more results for your customers, converting to customers themselves. So this helps you to scale your outreach. So I have received a lot of requests on the thing that setting up a dashboard to monitor the activity of your sender profiles, especially working across multiple teams. So I have set up an example for you that we are gonna I'm gonna show it to you in this video. And this is just an example that you can use and you can adjust it to your needs because it uses one single simple API HTTP request in GetSales to pull the data, and then you can convert it in your own way and maybe run a specific external dashboard, or maybe just pull all the data to Google Sheets as I did, and I want to show you how I did it. Maybe you would like to send it to some other external tool with a connector or some other way. Anyway, there are so many possible ways of how you can set it up. The most important thing is to understand the mechanic behind how we pull this data to see the tasks that are currently in progress for each of the sender profiles. So you can see here the dashboard example that I have built, and that you can build yourself in order to run it on your end. So this is just a simple Google Sheets template. And I also used Make in order to pull the data from GetSales, also make it more readable for Make to pull it, to push it, to Google Sheets. And I was using two simple API requests. So the first API request is to list the sender profiles. So imagine that you have several spaces, right? You would like to see the UI IDs, the unique GetSales IDs of the sender profiles, and receive the data of the human name next to this UI ID that you can pull in your Google Sheets or the dashboard, because you might be changing those sender profiles. So for you, the most important thing is just to have the UID, and then also to obviously have the human name to pull this data externally. So the sender profile helps you to list all your sender profiles for the specific team. And if you didn't know where to get your API token, this can be done in the settings in your team for API keys. So you can create one API key here. You can create as many as you want, and you can use it for your API requests. You can do this for each of the teams that you're running. If you run just one team, then it's simple. If you run many teams, then you would need to create an API key for each of the team, because all the data is aggregated in that specific team. It is separated. So essentially, with the specific API key, GetSales would know that we need to pull the data for this specific team for you. I hope it makes sense. Then, once you have a list of your sender profiles and your API response looks something like this, You can also get the list of your current tasks that you're running for this specific team. And you can also group them by, for example, by the sender profile. So this would help you to gather the tasks. For us, the important task is to list the send connection requests that are currently in progress and group them by the sender profiles. So once you run this API request, you would get the data as it is, like UID of the sender profile and then the number of the send connection request tasks that are currently in progress. It already looks good enough. Essentially, you can see the specific sender ID and the amount of the tasks that is currently listed next to them. But this is not really human readable. So if you want to scale it for your teams who are able to track this, and also you would like to run it on the automated basis to pull this data once in X amount of hours, that way it's better to build some kind of more human readable dashboard. So I already built it for you, and actually I'm not really technical savvy person, so I just used Gemini 3 in order to build this flow. So you can always consult with AI of your choice to also adjust it to your needs, because all the documentations from Make, from GetSales, from any other external tool that you might want to connect with, it's an open space, so AI is able to analyze it and just provide you with more specific instruction according to your needs. However, to make it easier for you, in case you just need to copy-paste the flow that I did, I'm just gonna share the link with you next to this video that you can copy and use it in your own space if you're using Make as well. So essentially, it will look something like this. You can apply to use the scenario, and then you will have the scenario copied in your workspace. And then we are just gonna go step by step to explain how everything should work here. Okay, perfect. So first thing first, you would need to set up the module that is called HTTP make a request. In case you didn't know how to add a model, this is how it looks like. You select HTTP and then you select make a request. So here it's already added for you, and you just need to change the token. You leave bearer, and then you remove this part, right? So the bearer token that I have, and you can just add your own token instead that you have created as API key. So bearer space, and then your own API key. And then just make sure that you have the body content with the filter here that we are going to use to group the tasks by the sender profile. And also make sure to have parse response selected to yes. So this is going to be our first model. And you can click on run this model. I'm not sure if you can do it right from here. Yeah. So you run this model. This model pulls the data that Make is going to analyze and just see how the data looks like. So we got the output that we can use in our next module that we set up. So the next module that we need to set up would be tools set variable. So again, if you are not sure how that would look like, you would need to select tools set variable. And here you would need to enter the name of the variable. It can be anything. It could be like test to array, my array, anything. But this module just helps to parse the data from the output that we get from GetSales API call in the right way. So then we can push it to Google Sheets, to the specific columns and rows. And here you would need to enter the following. I'm just going to delete it and re-enter it so you can see how that would look like. To array. Then you open the brackets and you would need to select the collection here. So you don't type it. That's the most common mistake. You just select it. You select it, you close the bracket, you click save. Model. So we will just continue with our next module that is called iterator. So iterator pulls the data that you get from API request And there we had just like the rows with the UUID and with the specific value next to UUID. So then iterator needs to put each of these kind of keys into the specific rows in Google Sheets. That's the explanation that I got from AI. So I hope I explained it well to you as well. So essentially you go to iterator and then you would just need to select the one that you created before here in the tools. That's why we added the tools model before. So we would select this to array, then we click save and just make sure to select map enabled. Okay. And then the next model would be the Google Sheets itself. So here we would first need to search for the specific rows that we will have set up in Google Sheets. And I'm going to show you the way that I have set them up. And then based on the findings, if we already have this row, we just need to update them, this row with the specific value, which would be the number of the tasks that are currently in progress. Or if we don't have this row yet, then we can add a row. And that would be in case you add the new sender profile. So we will pull this data for this specific sender profile, but you haven't had them added before. But if you already have had them added before, then you would just update the count of the tasks. So what this kind of part of the flow does is that every time you run this flow, we don't just add more and more rows here, but we look for this specific UUID from the HTTP API request. So, okay, we received this specific UUID in the API request, and we already have it in the Google Sheets table. So here we just need to update the number of the tasks and also put the last update that we did here, the timestamp of the last update, so you know when the last update happened here. And that would be it, instead of just adding more and more rows so that you just get lost in the amount of the rows here and the last updates that happened. We just run clean table that updates itself automatically. And the human readable names, is that what I was talking about before. I have set them up in the separate tab here. So I put the UUIDs and I just entered the names next to each of the UUID. And this is what I got it here from, right? So I was telling you that you can just run the sender profiles and then you get the list of the UUIDs and then you get also the name. I don't have that many names here. So if you have a lot, then you can also adjust it as an automated approach to pull this information to Google Sheets from, for example, like the API request with make, or just like make it in a different way. There are, again, many ways of how you can parse this information. For my example, I just used this kind of like, I entered it in the manual way. Okay. And in the dashboard, I use the formula that you can also use. Essentially, it's like a lookup formula. So we look for UUID and then we pull the name next to this UUID here. So it just grabs the data from the sender stub. Okay. So moving back to our flow in Make, we would need to add the model here. So this would be LinkedIn monitor template table, right? That I have. You would need to select your own. And also, if you are not connected in Make with Google OAuth, you would first need to authorize the Google connection, and then you would be able to find all your current spreadsheets. So here you just need to add a filter. So you would need to add a column that is UUID. It's your A column, right? In my case. And we need to make sure that it's equal and then add trim. Don't ask me why. That's how AI told me that everything will work. So we add trim and then we add the key here. Let me just write it down from the beginning. Just again, make sure to explain how this would work like this. Okay. And then again, you add limit 1 here. That's also important. you save this one. Then you don't do this, what I just did. Let me just remove this one. Every time I press like router, I expect it just to open something, but it doesn't do anything. It just adds more routes. So you would need to add router like this. And then you need to split scenario into 2 ways. You can split it in many more ways if you want. For me, the most important parts were just either I update a row or I add a row. So to update a row, again, we just select LinkedIn monitor template. And if the row has been found before, we just need to add the row number here. You just selected this one, and it will be added. And also you need to add the value next to each row. That would be your key UID, right? So we would select the value. Let me just find this one. So you would select this option here. And for the last update, you can look for date and time and select here now. So that would be current timestamp when the request has been run, right? And then you press on save. And if the row has not been found, so it means that this is a new sender profile, and before we didn't pull their UID in the first tab, then we would add this one here this time, and your table would grow with more sender profiles. Okay, so here again, you would just need to add key, value, and actually let me just double check this one. Okay, so here is the row number, so it already exists. Okay, yeah, this is fine. And here the difference would be that you add actually the key. That would be this one. This is your new UID that you pull. The amount of tasks would be the value here. And then again, last update, you would select now from date and time, and it would be added as well. You don't need to do anything else. You just click save. And then you can press to run and just make sure that everything runs perfectly. So you can see my timestamps are being updated, right? So this is it. It will work. You can also automate this to run, for example, every 59 minutes, right? Press on save. So this flow will essentially execute every 59 minutes. Why 59 minutes? Because I have a free plan. If you have a paid plan, then you can set up your own delay, 4 hours, anything. On free plan, there is just 59 minutes to make. I don't know why. Okay, so this is it. Another important thing that I wanted to tell you is that in some case, you might delete sender profile entirely. So or they get just completely disconnected with their LinkedIn profile because you would like to connect their LinkedIn profile to a different team, right? That is also the case. And then in the different team, the sender profile will get a different UID, right? So when we cannot find anything associated with this sender profile, the table will not just update, with the correct timestamp. So you will see that, okay, the specific sender profile gets the tasks stuck with the old timestamp. So from there, for example, if you're not super technical savvy, you don't want to bother with deletion of the row. If this sender profile is not found in the API request any longer, you can just go ahead and delete this one manually, right? And the API request will not return the tasks in progress. Again, as I said, the timestamp will not be updated here. You will see that. You can just delete manually. You can also make more advanced flow here, and you can talk to AI, or maybe you know yourself how to delete this row automatically if the sender profile gets disconnected, just not to confuse you. Another thing here would be to highlight you the sender profiles with the tasks that are not enough in your opinion. So the tasks that are currently being finished for this specific sender profile, meaning that you would need to go to this specific team and check the automation further on that they are in, maybe add more leads or understand why they don't have enough tasks. So here, yeah, again, I just set up the very simple conditional formatting. Where is it? Yep. Okay, and let's set up 2 rules. If the value is less than 20, I would mark these rows as red. And if the value is less than 50, I would mark them in yellow. Like right now, there are no yellow. So for example, we can do it different way to highlight. Yes. So for example, now we have the yellow row. You can also add more rules, obviously. Like again, this is something that you want to play around with just to make it better for your own understanding. So that could look something like this, right? So this will show all the tasks that are currently listed as in progress for this specific sender profile, and it will highlight the amount of the tasks for send connection requests that are not enough for this specific sender profiles. So essentially, if you want to just expand it for many of your teams that you currently have, and you just want to have it in one single dashboard, then you can just make many tabs, as many as you need, depending on the amount of teams that you have. You would just copy this flow for each of your teams, changing the API key in the first HTTP request that you have to the API key of that specific team. Then you would also update the Google Sheets part with the sheet name that you would like to pull this data to, right? And also update the row and add the row, right? So you just need to update the sheet name itself from dashboard to the tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, team number, this and that. Then here you would just pull all the information from other tabs that you currently have to list them all under one single team. And then you're done. So you would have all the sender profiles from all the teams under one single dashboard. So that would be easier for you to track and just also act and make more decisions based on this information. Another option is also maybe to send external alerts to your Slack channel, right? Based on the information that you receive from the HTTP request. Maybe you would like to send some other alerts somewhere else. So again, there are many possibilities here. I just wanted to show you in the in this kind of option in the dashboard way how to set it up. And I really hope that this was helpful. And feel free to use the template that I've set up to recreate it on your ends. And yeah, I will see you in the next video, and I wish you an awesome day. Bye bye.